wanna show you what I know. Break it free from the mainstream, the studio machine. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. Going all the way. Indie Film Nation. You know it's gotta be Indie Film Nation. Indie Film Nation.
Got my feet, anything between my soul and gravity. I only got my feet, I only got my feet, I only got my feet, I only got my I'm thankful for my skin, I'm thankful for my skin. I can't say that I'm not benefiting from the skin I'm in. I'm thankful for my skin, I'm thankful for my skin, I'm thankful for my skin, I'm thankful for my I can't forget my hands, I can't forget my hands. They take me to places that I could not possibly about that plan. I can't forget my hands, I'm so in love with my hands. They allow me to hold your hands. I can't forget my hands.
Today we got a standing ovation. It was so exciting, kind of, I felt so honored.
If anyone wants a boxing painting on their t-shirt, now is the time.
The speed and beauty and the rhythm. Yeah, those are the three models that he wanted to push forward.
最初はね、ボクシンググローブ全然日本になかったんで、シャツを脱いで炭の中で突っ込んで、キャンバスもなかったんで紙にやってました。
At first, he didn't have boxing gloves, so he would wrap around the shirt and he would just like douse that into the painting and he would just like punch, go at it. Right now, he could buy a boxing glove that models at for $19 and he can just do these paintings very fast, very quickly. So he feels a little bit awkward selling it for selling these paintings with a big price.
Yeah.
As the stars were shining brightly, we could hear the whippoorwill as we sat beneath the maple on the hill. Don't forget me, little darling, when they lay me down to die.
It's been a total joy to come here. I feel very lucky that this has been the festival that we've opened at in the States. It just feels the right home for it. There's something incredibly moving about how the community of people in the town and filmmakers from all over somehow combine to create something that is both incredibly kind of homemade in the best sense and also amazingly professional. Neil Platt, who is the main character in our film, at a certain stage he was very determined to communicate about what he was going through at that stage in his life. And he had a blog that he kept that had quite a lot of followers, and he put out a request in this blog for people who are filmmakers or documentary makers or anyone involved in the media to come and speak to him and basically tell his story.
Forget me, little darling, as they lay me down to die. Just a little wee stardom that I pray.
I was very reluctant because it felt like a very difficult thing to embark on, and I suppose I wasn't sure about the ethical questions of filming somebody at that stage in their lives. But then when I met Neil, it felt like there was such a velocity and a movement to communicate from him that it had its own logic after that. He increasingly welcomed the cameras there. I mean, he would have this thing, I think, when we started filming, I began filming the breathing machine because I did find it. I found it hard at the beginning to feel, to know how to film Neil. So I began filming the breathing machine, and Neil began saying, "Oh, that's how you should begin the film. The sound of the breathing machine. And you should continue it going throughout, and then that sound should stop at the end of the film so that people understand that I've died." So he had this sort of mind that was very much a creator himself. He was an architect, and so I think it was his own involvement in the film in that creative way actually helped us quite a lot.
I will soon be with the angels on that bright and happy shore. Even now I hear them coming over the hills. So goodbye, my little darling. It is time for us to part. I must leave you in the maple on that hill. Don't forget me, little darling, as they lay me down to die. Just one little wish, darling, that I pray. As you linger there in sadness, you are thinking of our past. Let your teardrops kiss the flowers on my grave.
We started out by wanting to do something which had a look at some of the big forces at play in the world today, why people are making journeys to other countries to find different lives and what drives people to do that. Almost the second scene you see in the film, which is where the body of the individual is discovered, that you then follow, that was our first bit of documentary shooting on the film. And that was actually the first time we were called, or Mark was called out on a, I guess what they call a body recovery.
They're really, really lucky to basically have been there on the day that that body was recovered and that body was able to be identified. Since the year 2000, we have over 2,000 bodies that have been found in our jurisdiction, Pima County, Arizona, and 800 of those are still unidentified.
As a producer, I think the most challenging part of it, and I hope we got this right, and it's one of those things that you'll never know in a way, is I hope we did justice to the story. I hope we, at each stage, handled the people that we interacted with in making the story in the best way that we could have, and that we always I feel like I always had in the forefront of my mind that it was important that this was something which was beneficial and positive for everybody that was involved. And I guess that's one of the things that weighs most heavily on you when you're making a film, I think, like this. For Gael, I think, I don't want to say too much about it because I hope that people go and see the film and they can kind of discover it for themselves, and I don't want to be prescriptive in terms of how they interpret his character there on the screen, but for him, he had to kind of extemporize in real time with people. There isn't a script. he has to interact with people who are in real situations and bring some of the man that the film is about, some of himself to that role, and also be a kind of everyman in each scene. So that requires you directing yourself a little bit, writing in your head while you're having these conversations and steering things and nudging things and reacting to things naturally. And also you have to do things like climb on top of a train, and you have to do lots of things that you're really kind of doing for real. And I think that was something that Gael relished and was amazing about the whole time.
Official Buskers Last Stand event is about to begin. Let me explain a little something about busking. It's when you go out on the street or inside of a building and you got no microphones and you got no amps and you got nothing to help you out. All you got is your faith in the people to listen to when you're pouring your heart out on the street. And we got 4 bands here tonight. They're going to pour their hearts out for you in this room.
Lisa just got here, so she's still getting her true false sea legs. I came in yesterday, and it's been amazing. I've heard about this festival for years. Lots of other filmmaker friends of mine have told me how great it is, because the crowds are incredible. I mean, as a filmmaker, the thing you dream of is going into a beautiful theater and having a packed, enthusiastic audience, and that seems to be what they have here at every single film. So it's been amazing.
To see a film, and I saw what they called the buskers, and
for all the movies. Yeah, I love that.
I love it. I see this like a popcorn thing with money being handled through, like how you go to church and you take the offering. But in church, no one's gonna take the money out of the offering plate unless you think you're going to hell. So, but here there's no. It seems like everybody, I think what I liked about the True False experience is that people were just passing a plate like it was in church. It's like, I never got the feeling like someone was afraid that someone's going to steal somebody's money out of the, out of the offering plate for the buskers, because it just seems so wrong.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I'd want to try that in New York.
Yeah. I didn't realize this was like busking central. There were like 30 busking bands that have come.
They were amazing
here, and so they're all different kinds of busking.
Wow!
And last night there were a group of maybe 8 women singing with maybe a little bit of accompaniment, and they stayed and watched the movie, and they loved it because they all are harmonizing.
Oh wow!
And then right afterwards, they started singing Otis Redding "Dreams to Remember," the same song on our film.
Oh my God!
I know, which was great. So they were responding to it right away. I'm a musician too, and played music forever, and kind of my 2 loves are journalism and music, and I started making documentaries, and all I really wanted to do in the beginning was music documentaries. I do non-music docs too, but music is such a powerful thing. It's unlike any other art form. But also through music, you can tell all kinds of other stories too. It's a great Trojan horse. So, you bring people in to tell them something with music, and music brings with it the emotion and the weight and all this great stuff as a filmmaker. But it allows you to make films about things that are way beyond music too. The best music docs aren't about music, they're about bigger issues. And hopefully this is too.
first time in True Falls, first time in Missouri. Seems like a very nice place. I have many friends from Denmark that have been here, and they told me great things about it. So I thought I might fly over and join this festival. The idea of the expedition was kind of independent from the film itself. The producer, Michael Haslund, he's kind of friendly with the captain, so he was told about this, and then he got 3 spaces, 3 beds in the ship to be able to make a documentary about it. So I was contacted on a pretty late level. The ship was sailing, everyone, the crew and the cast was already made. It's a national park. I think it's a huge area. It's 1 million square kilometers, so it's the size of Texas and California combined. And there are no people. There are, I think, 30 people live there, and they are scientists and some soldiers, some Danish soldiers patrol the coast. So it's the northeastern part of Greenland, which is if you have Greenland, the coastline that borders up to the North Pole, actually. So it's a very remote area and used only by scientists. The opportunity to go there was so unique, I think. It's I guess it's like being asked if you want to go to the moon. And yeah, it's kind of stupid to say no, I think. I guess the inspiration was probably my own boyish childhood dreams, becoming a sailor and sailing around the world. And I felt a responsibility as a filmmaker going out there, because how do I, as probably the first person ever with a film camera, how do I, portray this landscape? How do I tell a story about the beauty of it? So I think the film in a way is unique because I was the first filmmaker ever to shoot the landscape, and I'm probably also going to be the last because it's changing so rapidly now. So if someone will go there in a couple of years, it will look completely different again. Well, the film is about everything, I guess. The film is about life and death and the universe and the beginning and the end. It's a mix between something apocalyptic and something hopeful, and it's a mix of Mozart and Metallica. And the surroundings, as you see in Greenland, for instance, it's just a wilderness. It's so harsh out there and so dark and cold, and it's very what we have here in this little, for instance, here Columbia, Missouri, is unique. It's so unique that we have this society and we can drink a cup of coffee, and we think that's normal, but it is not. It's like the unique thing is this, and I think that I was confronted with ideas and thoughts and feelings like that Earth is just basically just one big wilderness still, and we have made some small constructions that will, make us believe that it is not a wilderness. But and I think that's also why people in the film talk so much about life and death, because all of a sudden when you're out there, you're like you're confronted with you see the structures of existence. It's like it becomes so evident to you that it's a miracle. It's a miracle and a great mystery that we can be here. And so I think all those high ideas and visions that the film consists of, I think they are naturally born out of the insight that the Earth is a wilderness and the universe is one big wilderness.
And get your vitamins and spend some precious time alone, or snuggle up with the ones you love. If you got them in your heart, then ain't your heart what you call home.